Welcome to World Prism. Please subscribe and hit the bell icon for more breaking updates. In early 2025, Nicaragua stunned the world by announcing the revival of its long-dormant interoceanic canal project, a staggering $50 billion venture, this time with the powerful backing of China. The announcement, made in the heart of Managua, signaled not just a new era for Nicaragua, but a potential seismic shift in global trade and geopolitics. The proposed canal would carve a path across the country, connecting the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans, and offering a direct challenge to the century-old dominance of the Panama Canal. This colossal undertaking is more than just an engineering marvel. It's a direct challenge to the Panama Canal's supremacy, aiming to reshape the very routes that power global shipping. If completed, the Nicaraguan canal could reroute billions of dollars in trade, offering a new, potentially faster and larger passage for the world's biggest ships. The stakes are enormous, with shipping companies, investors, and governments all watching closely to see if Nicaragua can deliver on its ambitious promise. President Daniel Ortega's close alignment with China is no accident. For Beijing, this project is a golden opportunity, a chance to gain a strategic foothold in the Western Hemisphere, right in America's backyard. The partnership cements China's growing influence in Latin America and signals a new phase in the global contest for power and resources. The scale of the project is almost unimaginable. At over $50 billion, the canal's cost is more than 4 times Nicaragua's entire annual GDP. For a country with widespread poverty and limited infrastructure, the financial risk is immense. Yet, supporters argue that the canal could transform Nicaragua into a regional powerhouse, creating jobs, boosting trade, and attracting foreign investment on a scale never seen before. Chinese companies are already on the ground, surveying land and preparing for construction. The project is a flagship of China's Belt and Road Initiative, which seeks to expand Chinese influence through massive infrastructure investments around the globe. For China, the canal is both a business venture and a strategic move, opening new trade routes and deepening ties with Latin America. For many Nicaraguans, the canal represents a dream of prosperity and a rare chance to chart their own destiny. Local communities hope for new jobs, better infrastructure, and a brighter future for their children. The project is seen by some as a bold act of national self-determination, a way for Nicaragua to step onto the world stage and claim its place in the global economy. Yet, the risks are as great as the rewards. Critics warn that Nicaragua is tying its fate to Beijing, risking sovereignty and environmental disaster in exchange for uncertain gains. Protests have erupted, and international observers worry about the project's impact on local communities, fragile ecosystems, and the delicate balance of power in the region. As the world watches, the Nicaraguan canal stands poised to do more than just connect 2 oceans. It could redefine the dynamics between superpowers, shift the balance of global trade, and determine the future of an entire nation. The $50 billion gamble has begun, and its outcome could echo for generations. The Gran Canal Interoceanico de Nicaragua is a monumental 445-kilometer project, far surpassing the Panama Canal's 82 kilometers. Designed to accommodate the largest ships, it promises significant economies of scale. The canal's depth and engineering marvels aim to handle ultra-large container vessels, offering a future-proof solution. This new route could reshape global trade, diverting traffic from Panama and altering supply chains worldwide. It represents a fundamental rerouting of the world's economic bloodstream, creating new winners and losers globally. China's support for the Nicaragua Canal is a strategic move that goes far beyond simple economics. At first glance, it may seem like just another ambitious infrastructure project, but in reality, it represents a calculated effort by Beijing to reshape the geopolitical landscape of the Western Hemisphere. By backing the canal, China is signaling its intent to become a major player in a region long dominated by the United States. The canal would secure a vital trade route for China, one that is free from U.S. oversight and influence. This new passage could allow Chinese goods and resources to flow more efficiently between the Pacific and Atlantic, bypassing the heavily monitored Panama Canal, which has historically been under American control. For China, the canal offers a guaranteed path for its commercial and potentially military vessels, reducing its dependence on routes vulnerable to U.S. intervention. This is not just about trade, it's about strategic autonomy and projecting power far from home. By establishing a foothold in Central America, China is directly challenging U.S. dominance in the region, raising concerns in Washington about the shifting balance of power. The Nicaragua Canal project is a bold extension of China's Belt and Road Initiative, marking its most significant push yet into what has traditionally been considered America's backyard. Through massive investments and infrastructure deals, China is weaving itself into the economic and political fabric of Latin America. Unsurprisingly, the United States views the canal as a strategic threat. American policymakers worry that the project could provide China with leverage over critical maritime routes and even open the door to a future military presence in the region. The potential for increased Chinese influence is forcing the U.S. to rethink its security posture in Central America, as the canal could fundamentally alter the region's security landscape and challenge long-standing American interests. This dynamic transforms the canal into a new front line in the ongoing rivalry between the U.S. and China, with each side vying for influence and strategic advantage. The implications go far beyond Nicaragua. The project is already impacting regional alliances, prompting countries across Latin America to reconsider their diplomatic and economic ties and potentially reshaping the global order as new partnerships emerge. China's state-led investment model, which promises rapid development and fewer political strings, is proving attractive to nations like Nicaragua that seek alternatives to Western aid and influence. For Nicaragua, the canal represents not just economic opportunity, but a chance to assert its sovereignty and align with a rising global power. Meanwhile, the United States is being forced to reconsider its approach to the region, as it faces the reality of a new competitor on its doorstep and the prospect of a transformed strategic landscape in the Americas. Panama faces a crisis with its canal due to severe drought, drastically lowering water levels. The Panama Canal Authority has slashed vessel transits, creating a global trade bottleneck. This reliability issue makes the case for an alternative waterway more compelling. Panama's crisis is a golden opportunity for Nicaragua and China, offering a more reliable route. The drought exposes Panama's vulnerability, while Nicaragua's canal could mitigate such risks. The dream of a Nicaraguan canal dates back to the 16th century, but political and financial challenges kept it unrealized. In the 19th century, Nicaragua was a frontrunner for a canal, but political instability shifted focus to Panama. The most recent failure was the HKND project, stalled by financial collapse and opposition. In 2024, Nicaragua revoked HKND's concession, admitting the failure of the private sector approach. This history of collapse raises questions about the current revival's viability. The Nicaragua Canal revival is tied to Nicaragua's deepening alignment with China. Under President Ortega, Nicaragua has become a one-party state, isolated from the West. In 2021, Nicaragua severed ties with Taiwan, aligning with China for economic support. The canal project is a manifestation of this alliance, with China as a strategic partner. This political context ensures minimal domestic opposition, unlike the failed HKND attempt. The project is now a state-to-state agreement, a tool of foreign policy for both nations. The Nicaragua Canal project stands as one of the most ambitious infrastructure undertakings in modern history, but it faces a daunting array of risks: financial, environmental, and social. The sheer scale of the canal, which would cut across the heart of Central America, has sparked intense debate, both within Nicaragua and around the globe. The estimated cost of the project is astronomical, running into tens of billions of dollars, and it requires massive state-level backing from China. This level of investment is unprecedented for Nicaragua, raising questions about debt, long-term economic dependency, and the true beneficiaries of the canal's construction. Many wonder if the promised economic boom will ever materialize, or if Nicaragua will be left with a financial burden it cannot repay. The environmental impact is equally alarming. The canal's route threatens to disrupt Central America's delicate ecosystems, including the vast and biodiverse Lake Nicaragua. Conservationists warn that the project could devastate habitats for countless species, pollute water sources, and irreversibly alter the region's natural landscape. The long-term consequences for biodiversity and local communities could be severe. Perhaps most troubling is the human cost. The canal could displace up to 120,000 people, many of whom belong to indigenous communities with deep ties to the land. Forced relocation threatens their way of life, culture, and livelihoods. Protests have erupted, with local leaders demanding their voices be heard and their rights respected. In response to mounting criticism, Nicaragua's withdrawal from the Organization of American States signals its intent to proceed with the canal, even as human rights concerns grow. This move has further isolated the country diplomatically and raised alarms among international observers. The canal is a monumental gamble, one that could either transform Nicaragua's economy or result in catastrophic failure. The stakes are incredibly high, and the outcome remains uncertain. Ultimately, the Nicaragua Canal tests not only China's global ambitions and America's regional influence, but also Nicaragua's sovereignty and resilience. As the world watches with trepidation, the future of this colossal project and the people it will affect hangs in the balance.